Hey, good afternoon, everybody. It's Mike. It is about 12:25 on Monday, the 30th of October, and I thought I'd go live because we've had a couple of weird things going on in the market today, and it felt like something to come on and give you guys a little bit of an update here and do some talking. So, we moved up quickly and early this morning. Q's put in a new all-time high in. SPY did not quite, and we've come way off of that. And one of the things we talked about this morning was being careful as there's a lot of political news out there with these indictments now. Um, we're seeing, so you need to be a little careful, and this sell-off could have been part of it at this point. So not quite sure what's going on. Hang on, I'm getting a live squawk in my ear. I need to turn this off. I forgot to turn it off for some news coming in, and it's just blowing me up here. Okay, we're getting some earnings flow coming in. So all in all, guys, not huge. Hey, Chris, how are you? All in all here, not the end of the world, no damage. We're still above the 8-day. All we're seeing here is just some weakness. Just a little bit of weakness. We were a little bit heated on the call side and the markets coming into today, and they flushed some of this out of here with some quick action, right? We could see the volume was very low and they woke it up in here. And now we're kind of going back to sleep. Markets are kind of gyrating around. We have a lot of earnings going on this week, so I'm not going to panic over this. I made one trade today. I bought a few Netflix this November 205 calls, which I'm sitting in and will continue to sit in. I'm trying to get out of this intraday chop and staying away from the weeklies. I often talk to you guys about weekly options. Premium burn days are Monday and Tuesday. They love to get people to chase. That said, a lot of stuff now coming off the lows. We have big earnings this week. We have Apple, which put a new 52-week high in today. It's pulled off of it. Started to look like it was going to go, and they pulled it a little bit more on this pull in the markets. No damage, no really going on here. They're kind of just playing around at this point, seeing what they can do, seeing who they could chop up. So we have Apple this week. We have Facebook this week, another big name, right? Baba this week. See, they all chase these names. They chase these names because they came into them light. So what I want to see now is them start looking at other places, and I've seen them starting to buy the banks. So C has been picking up quite a bit of call activity this morning. So they've been coming into C. Pull this up for you. You can see here some of the weekly 7250s. They've been piling these up. 4,800, almost 5,000, 4,500 of them now swept up. So they're looking for something there. We just saw our first Bank of America sweeper. They came in, they hit some November 24 calls. All right, 3,000 of the 2850s. So they're coming in, they're starting to buy the banks here on this dip. And this is a good place to try to buy the banks on these dips, right? They're holding the 8-day. Nothing really to fear here. By the way, if you guys have questions, type them out in chat. I can see chat and I will answer them. There is a slight delay, but I'll get to it. And you can see the XLF holding the 8-day, a little bit of a weak candle today. I am long the banks in January. I'm considering adding here, but I'm going to give it a day or two for some of this political noise to clear itself out of the way at this point. I'm not in a massive rush. I don't feel like I'm going to miss anything. Trump's going to announce the new Fed chairman on Thursday. I believe it's going to be Powell, but we'll see how that plays out. And all in all, the market's just chopping around and doing what you would expect after a huge move on Friday. Basically trying to get people out, create room to go, get some more shorts involved, just chop people up. And this is what the market's been doing for a while now, and there's no real character change at this point. I do think we're setting up for a big move higher in this market eventually. Yeah, Chris, Dems do have their panties in a wad over this stuff. And of course they do. And, the one thing I'm going to encourage you, we all have a political opinion, and what they are not important. Put them aside here. Ask yourself, before you get all caught up on news, is it real? Is it not real? Is this somebody speculating? Is this somebody who is out to get Trump? Is this somebody that's a Trump supporter? Just ask yourselves those questions, as we're going to have a lot of political headlines coming out over the next 24 to 48 hours around this. Just always keep asking yourself those questions. That's all I would encourage you to do. I hear nothing. Exactly. Do that. At that point, so some names to watch this week. JD not acting well in that upgrade, but it's probably waiting for Baba. It's clinging to the 200-day here. So we're going to keep an eye on that one. Tesla, this is my bad this morning. I didn't look at it carefully. It's off the 200-day. This was a buy off the 200-day. I don't like playing Tesla into earnings week, so it has earnings weeks. Those options are super, super expensive going in this week. It's tough. People are saying, "Oh my God, we should have sorted Amazon." Somebody said that to me in a private message. I said, "Really? What would have made you short Amazon here at this particular moment in time?" And I know it came down 20 quick and hard, but there was no news and the markets came in. When you guys see that, you can't get all that upset about that. You just have to kind of let that go out there and just say, you know, I wasn't looking to go short here. There's no reason to have get involved. I mean, if you caught it, great, fabulous for you. Well done. By the way, Cake November 50 calls again coming in. Split ticket. We have earnings coming this week, so no big deal there for Cake. Earnings flow. And Twitter. First flow I've seen to Twitter today. Twitter, November 24 calls swept. They're cheap ones, so it only did about $7,500 worth, but they're cheap. Let's show you why they're cheap, because the guy's playing for the gap fill. Yeah, Tesla did have a nice move, but it's been a tough trade today. Let's take a look at Twitter. So you can see Twitter, they're playing the 24s all the way up here. They're real cheap. So while there's only $7,500 worth, there's 2,000 of them bought here by this guy. He's still coming for him, by the way. They're still kind of coming in here. So watch Twitter here, and the reason I'll tell you that is we'll open this up. We'll make this nice and easy to see. We have the rest of this gap to fill. You know, I've been talking about it. This is not the place to enter here. The 8-day, what we'd like to see happen here is we'd like to see, we'll come to Snap in a second, Nels, I got you there. We'd like to see this thing chill out and make a nice little flag up here. RSI is off the charts on Twitter at this point, which happens, oops. All right, which was expected. It's up, it hit up to 70, 78, 76, now it's cooling off. We'd like to see this consolidate here and then watch for a move into that. So let the 8-day catch up on Twitter. Snap, good question on Snap. So Snap, they've been buying the January 26 calls like mad this morning. Right? So here's your Snap chart. We're down here trading around $16. It pulled back a little bit from the highs. They're buying the January 26 calls. So somebody's playing way up here. So earnings is next week. Even if earnings are good, I don't see this thing getting past 20 if they rock earnings, right? That would be a big move for that name to get to 20. A buyout at 26 would be well over a 50% premium. So I'm not sure what this guy's playing for. And maybe there's something out there we don't know. And maybe he's just paying to see if they'll go up, right? Remember, they don't have to go. Yep, you saw it earlier. They may, remember, for the guy to make money, it doesn't have to hit 26, right? He's got time. I mean, they just have to go up. I mean, these things move to 20. Those calls will be double real quick. And let's show you why. Let me pull them up here. I really hate TOS in some respects. They make everything so much more difficult than it has to be to do things. All right. So he's up to 5,000 now. He's been adding, and he's been paying between 12 and 14 cents on these, right? This thing was to move. Let's see this thing move towards to 20, right? These things would double. So this guy could just be playing for something along this line. I would take an incredible move for this thing to get to 26, in my opinion here. Now, maybe good earnings and a buyout comes in at the same time. I don't know. Maybe some activist investors are getting involved here. It's just strange. Under Armour seeing some more flow here. Weekly 18 calls. We've seen on both sides on Under Armour today a lot of action into Under Armour today. They have earnings this week. So, nothing for me to do there. I call it out to you guys because I know some of you guys like to play earnings. Overall today, guys, the flow, it's really been about Facebook. So the one name today they've been buying nonstop is Facebook. Tons and tons of flow into the Facebook. Where's my change? Okay, there we go. Look at the weeklies. Look at this, 14,000 into the 180s. Look at the monthlies, another 14,000 into the November 180s. I think they're separate. They came in at separate times, but I will check tomorrow morning on open interest to make sure that this guy wasn't rolling from here out into here. but they looked very clean and the stock reacted as if they were. So Facebook has seen a ton of buying ahead of earnings. BABA has picked up a good amount of buying ahead of earnings as well, right? And so what's going on with these guys here? You see all the coming into the weeklies, the 180s, another big number. These funds all got caught flat on Friday morning. And what I mean by that is coming into Friday morning, they didn't have exposure to Amazon or Google or Microsoft or Intel. And now they're saying there's no way I cannot have exposure to Facebook and BABA and NVIDIA and Apple ahead of earnings, because if they hit and we're not in them, our clientele is going to freak out. So you're seeing somewhat of a chase here into those names right now. Triple D, Dan 14 calls swept. I don't think they've had earnings yet. I think they're coming now. About 700 of them. And Yandex, we're seeing some more. This is the second time today into Yandex. Yandex, December 35 calls swept. 2,000 of them. Oh, some action there. And then somebody more. More Yandex. Right behind it, November 3350 calls swept. Another 2,000 of those too. This is probably a call. This is probably a call spread. He legged into it. Same numbers. Maybe not. Did I get the rhymes wrong? Oh, December calendar spread. Could be a calendar. What the hell did this guy do? I don't know. I'm not sure here. Now I have to take a look. Now you got to wait a minute. Nels, yeah, they all have. You have them earnings this week, right? On all those names coming up here. I don't play earnings, Nels. It's not my cup of tea. So I'm not trying to dissuade you out of it. I've decided long ago that I don't like to play earnings. Not sure what they're doing in Yandex. Looks clean and separate right now. X trades sloppy. Had that big. Remember this day there was that huge call buyer. If you guys are in my service, I called it out. For you guys or not, take my word for it. And I said don't buy it up here because it trades sloppy. And X loves to trade sloppy. The one thing I don't like about X is when we go back here, last earnings were very, very good, right? And it has that big gap it never finished filling. And it's kind of just, it's trade sloppy. It's always best to buy X on weakness than buy it on strength, the way this thing trades. Trying to buy this on strength usually gets you into trouble. So that said, you kind of have, we can do this right here. We can do a quick, it depends how you want to draw the line. This is not the best draw. This is a quick one. I need to start looking at it. But yeah, you do have some type of uptrend here. Come on. That we're coming into. What I like to do when I draw a line, guys, by the way, is I like to connect as many points as possible, whether that be wicks, tails, or actual parts of the candle itself. So I'm not doing anything on Nels going into this with earnings at this point, but we'll see how this plays out. Certainly nothing bad going on here at this point with it. We'll see how this plays. I'd rather play it afterwards. Yandex, don't call it. See, those were all bought. It's getting a pop off of that, right? See that? So if you're ever not sure, when you hear me calling it out, you're not sure, look at the reaction to the stock. That reaction, look at the volume coming in. That is a reaction of somebody coming in and buying it. So those two strikes were just bought. Amgen, first bottom feeder into Amgen here, guys. Amgen, we're seeing December 195 calls. Looks like over 300 of them. They're still coming. They've been trying to buy all the bios, by the way, little small sweepers into all of them. By the way, there's over 800 now of those on those Amgen line. Good luck, Nels. And I've been watching. Celgene had the big call buyers the day after earnings, and it hasn't gone down, but it hasn't really moved well off of it yet. I'm still watching it. Notice we're right at the gap here, right? So it's flirting with trying to go up, and we're back in the Bollinger Band. So now we'll see. The next day or so should give us an idea of the move. Gilead, another name they bought heavily on Friday, not quite back in the Bollinger Bands, clinging to the 100-day moving average. Bib was one of the names I considered buying this morning. They came in, they swept some weeklies. I didn't take the trade. It would have been a nice quick trade, but you got to be quick in these things, right? So now it's down. Went right up to the 50 and the 8-day and pulled, right? You see that on there? So, you know, they're setting up some resistance. Look how that area also coincides right with these candle highs, those pivots there. So when I look for resistance, I like to look where moving averages come together with a lot of those pivots as well in the candles. That'll tell you where resistance support can really come in sometimes, and that tells you where a good place to buy and a good place to sell. So overall, guys, the markets here are just reacting and throwing a little bit of a temper tantrum to some of the indictments that are coming down. No real harm here, nothing really done. If you look at the VIX, nothing going on, very, very quiet, not really doing much of anything, not like we had last week. So I wouldn't get overly concerned. If you guys like what I'm talking about here, what I'm saying, you guys should give me a follow. Below here in the link is a description to a promo link, smartoptiontrading.com. Come on in, learn a little bit about me, what I do. I do mentoring, I do real-time option flow. In the option flow, you get a morning video with setups every morning. You get flow all throughout the day, news, trades I go in and out of, and as well as night, you get a recap video. If you like that, you can subscribe here, or if you go to the link, there's a promo special within there, $25 for the first month, renews at $100. Love to have you come on and give me a try. And, you know, I'll continue to go live throughout the days whenever something makes sense to come live. So thought I'd come in and say I'm not really worried about the market here. Doesn't seem like anything to be going on, and just kind of relax. So you guys have a great afternoon. You guys in the service will be busy through the afternoon and put the video out. If you're not, guys, give me a try. Sign up. Love to have you. Everybody have a wonderful afternoon.